Good morning, evening, or night. I'm Caleb Myhill.
And I'm Astrid Livesey. Last week, some of our students were featured on Channel News 5. They were talking about vaping and smoking. Several shared their stories. We would like to show that to you in case you didn't have an opportunity to watch the news.
I believe it's very addictive.
Lake Placid students signing a pledge.
Some of my family has done it, and I know some friends that do it too.
To stay away from tobacco products.
I grew up with a family who smoked, so mostly my dad.
It's part of National Kick Butts Day, meant to bring awareness about the effects of tobacco and nicotine.
If you're athletic and everything, it can ruin your running and everything.
If I start smoking, then I'm gonna be addicted to it. And I don't wanna smoke because it's disgusting and it does bad stuff to your lungs.
Student support counselor Tina Clark says she's been noticing fewer of her students smoking over the years, until recently.
There's been a turnaround since Juul came out that kids are vaping, they think it's cool, and every school is affected with this increase in tobacco.
Clark feels reaching children at a young age could lead to bringing tobacco use back down, and maybe even eliminating it.
They have the capacity to make that change. They're smart, they're driven, and they can put an end to this.
By learning what it can do to them.
You will lose some stamina, which happened to me, my stamina for sports.
Or a loved one.
My grandmother died a few years ago of smoking because she got lung cancer and yeah.
In Lake Placid, Josh Mitchell, NBC5 News.
Also, our very own Mrs. McConvey was honored as the Wilmington Citizen of the Year. So congratulations to Mrs. McConvey. Thank you for all that you do for our school. We greatly appreciate it.
You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone. Anyone I've ever met.
We are down to the last two books for both middle and high school for March Book Madness. The triumphant two books for the high school are To Kill a Mockingbird and The Da Vinci Code. And for the middle school, they are Shiloh and The Land of Stories. We had an opportunity to interview Miss Patnode about March Book Madness. Take a look. So, on March Book Madness, were the final books the books you expected to make it to the finals?
No, actually, I was super surprised by everything. I did not expect To Kill a Mockingbird to take out The Hate U Give. I thought that was a really popular book because it's a new movie. And it did, but I know it's a really great classic. I do love To Kill a Mockingbird. And The Da Vinci Code wasn't that surprising. I know that's also a popular movie, and a lot of people have read it because it's older. In middle school too, that was crazy. I thought Jason Reynolds would win, but he didn't, and that's okay.
So, what made you decide to do March Book Madness?
So I know, a couple of things. So I know March is a really long month, and it's really dreary. We all want spring to happen, and the snow is still falling, unfortunately. And I always like the idea of bringing a little bit of competition to the act of reading, and I like the idea of students being able to talk about books and talking about the books that they like. So bringing this competition here would have brought that to life and have kids talk about the books that they've read. I know I could only choose 16 books, and I had to narrow it down. It was a really hard decision, and some students said that they hadn't read any of them. So next year maybe I'll be able to talk to students and be like, what have you read? And we can work from there.
Yeah. You talking about the 16 books actually brings us to our next question, which is, how did you decide on the 16? What was the narrowing down process?
So there were a couple of things. I looked at books that have been turned into movies. I've looked at books that have a high circulation status, which is what I use on my computer. Every time you check out a book, it tells me this has been checked out once, twice, 24 times. I talked to students. I said, what have you read? What books do you really like? I talked to teachers because some books I chose were actually classroom books, like The Hunger Games. And I was thinking, well, if everyone in the grade read the book, then they'll be able to vote for the book. So that was a long process, and I might change it up next year to see, but if you have any suggestions, anybody, please let me know.
And how have a lot of people been participating in the voting for the March Book Madness?
I think it's been a pretty good number. For high school, it's actually been more students than teachers, which I really like. So good job, students. I really like that. Please keep voting. And middle school has been nuts. So that's great. I think almost every single student has been voting. And that's great. Maybe next year I'll make it a combined March Book Madness with middle school and high school together and see how the numbers go. So thank you. Everyone's been doing awesome.
And finally, out of the 2 final books, which one do you think is going to be the grand winner?
That's such a hard question. Honestly, between the Da Vinci Code and To Kill a Mockingbird, I think To Kill a Mockingbird is going to take it. It's a classic. Everyone's read it. Yeah. That's my prediction.
So that is all we have. This has been Miss Pat Node on March Book Madness.
Welcome back. We also had the chance to interview Miss Weems and a couple of the cast members from Tuck Everlasting about Tuck Everlasting.
Take a look at that. So Miss Weems, when is the show?
The show is March 28th, 29th, and 30th, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evening, starting at 7 o'clock.
Okay. Why did you choose to do the musical Tuck Everlasting?
I just found it actually this fall and read it, and I thought this is an absolutely beautiful story and also a beautiful score. And it reminds me a little bit, because it takes place in the woods of New Hampshire, there's a little bit of an Adirondack feel to the show. And so for all of those reasons, and because I could kind of visualize the students that we have fitting into any number of these roles, that was a good reason that it was a fit for us.
Very nice. And how does it feel to be directing your last musical here in
The musical is the part of my job that I hold most closely, and I love it. It is where some of our biggest laughs happen, and it's where we do some of our hardest, most frustrating, and yet most rewarding work. I'm very, very proud of the work that we've done over the years here in Lake Placid. We've done a lot of really different shows, and while I am sad on some levels to be leaving this part, at the same time I look forward to seeing what they do in the future and, you know, what somebody else can come up with.
Well, thank you for letting us interview.
Thank you.
And that is all.
Thank you.
There will be a Key Club meeting this Wednesday, March 27th, in Mr. Bosworth's room 224.
Mr. Brandis says there's baseball practice for all Monday through Friday at 4 o'clock.
There will be an LPCC meeting next Monday during 10th period in the fax room. They will be having a pizza party for all old and new members.
All right. Love pizza. So, we had a secret word that popped up last week. It was Pi Day. Nobody entered for the secret word. You had the chance to win free scoops of ice cream from Stewart's. And you could have won free candy, but nobody entered. So we couldn't give that stuff away for free. Okay? Free. Extending that. All you have to do is head over to our website, enter your name, enter the secret word, and you would win. So what you're going to do now, or if you've already seen it, you're going to head back into our video, or like I said before, if you've seen it already, there was another secret word that appeared, and you could enter that, and you still have a chance to win. We've given you 2 chances now to win free stuff. All right? So go back, do that again, and we'll give you free stuff. It's no problem. We really enjoy giving you free stuff.
Caleb is very passionate about free stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on. You go to like one of those book places, free books, free knowledge.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Caleb.
You got it.
So go enter the secret word, and you can win the free stuff.
Yeah.
That is all we have for you today. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next week for more on sports, weather, and student life.